time for another update video. I look really different. I realized I look really different filming these Lsat videos versus my other videos that I film. I'm wearing glasses, the hair is different, you know, it's different. This is my nerdy side. If you guys didn't know, I've been a nerd forever. I'm still a nerd. Once a nerd, always a nerd. I need to update you guys on some stuff. So since last time we talked, I took yesterday I took my 4th LSAT practice, and this week will be my 5th. But before I talk about the 4th, I'm going to go back because it's been a minute since I talked to you guys. Let me recap. So with the second test that I took, I didn't score significantly higher last time. Like, I didn't meet my goal score, and I got so upset by it. I got really upset and really depressed because I'm trying to do good, and I think I'm doing everything right, or maybe I wasn't at the time. I wasn't doing everything right. I felt like I wasn't really putting a lot of effort into it. Like, I was, but I felt like it wasn't good enough, so I got really upset. So I talked to my sister and my mom about it, and they're just like, you got to realize that it's not as deep as you're trying to make it. And I've been successful in a lot of things, you guys, and this is the part that I'm trying to wrap my head around, or I was at the time. I went to school basically on a full ride for undergrad, no problem. Went to grad school, got my master's degree, no problem. Sorry, I like playing with my hair because I just got it done. And then now I'm trying to do this LSAT, and it's like the hardest thing that I've ever done. Well, it is going to be the hardest thing that I've ever done because everything else that I've done so far has been really easy for me. So naturally, everything's not always going to be up and up. Sometimes you have to go down. It's called regression to the mean. Like, everything's not going to be always good and everything's not going to be always bad. But this time, everything was going bad, I felt like. But I sat with my mom and my sister, and I was crying. I was just a mess. I was such a mess. Oh gosh, I was a mess. But I sat down with my mom and my sister, and they just really encouraged me and motivated me, and I got out of the slump that I was in. I said my prayers. I'm focusing more on my devotionals. I don't know about you guys, but for me, my belief in God is real. And at that moment, I was having a severe week of doubt. I was doubting myself, doubting my capabilities, doubting God. I was just having doubt. And then my sister said something that just put so much calm back into me. She was like, Kelsey, when have you ever not done something, or when have you ever wanted something and God didn't do it for you? And at that moment, I stopped crying, or I cried even more, really, because I realized that she was right. Like, take a look at this. Just look at this for a second. This is my wall, and on that wall shows everything that I've ever done in my life so far. So I have photos of Paris on there. I have my family on there. I have my first degree on there. My diplomas are up on my wall. Like, I have proof. I have so much proof around me that God has just done things for me. And here I was having this one day of this really sad moment where I was just like, I don't get why this isn't working. It's not working because it was me. I was doubting myself. And ever since she told me that, and then my mom said some encouraging things to me too, ever since they said that Sunday, I stopped doubting. So what I did the following week was just rededicated myself. And on my 3rd test, I scored a really high score. High for me anyways. I exceeded the goal score that they recommended for me. Now with the LSAT, the Khan Academy that I'm using, it's basically you'll start from one goal to another, and they basically want you to progress upward. So with my practice test, it scored, or not my practice test, like my diagnostic, I scored a 139, and from there it's just going up and up and up. So my score for test, what was it, test 3 was to score a 147, and I scored a 148, which made me feel really good. And I'm not even looking at the score at this point. I'm just looking at my progress with the questions. And from what I'm seeing based off of my test, I'm doing really well with my analytical reasoning. My understanding, you guys, of analytical reasoning has been nothing short of progress. When they say analytical reasoning is the section that you're going to progress the most on, where you'll see the most improvement, they're telling the truth, because my analytical reasoning understanding has gone from bad to I can get by. So I'm now on like the medium level of analytical reasoning, and I'm on the medium level of reading comprehension, and my logical, my logical reasoning section still needs some work, but I'm just happy that the parts that I'm facing the most issues with are improving. Another thing that I use for my analytical reasoning is this. I use the Learning Express Lsat logic games. I don't think it's a Bible, but I think it's just a like a little book, and I love it because it goes through little chapters in here, and then once you get through the chapters, you'll go through the test, and I really like it. The other thing that I did, that I told you guys that I was going to do, so I did it, I printed off my questions from my last LSAT. This test was the disclosed one, so I was able to print off my answers. The test that I'm taking in March is a non-disclosed, but I'm not planning on taking the LSAT after this, because this is it. This is gonna be it. We're gonna be good. So what I did was I basically printed off the sections and then circled the correct answer, and then I printed another copy of the questions, like a blank copy, and worked through the problems. So I printed off my logic games from the test, and I was super excited because out of the 14 that I did, because I didn't go through all of them yet, but out of the 14 that I did, I got 12 out of 14 right, and I didn't get 12 out of 14 right on the actual test. So knowing that I could go back and rework the problems like these, I don't know if you can see that, but knowing that I can go through the test and rework the problems and get them right, I was really excited about that. So this last test, test 4, was basically the same thing. My biggest improvement was with my reading comprehension. Like I said, reading isn't really that hard for me as long as I'm focused, because sometimes I'll read material and I'm just like, I don't register anything that it says. But my reading comprehension had the most improvement, and then I was so mad the math section that I did, the analytical one, the first one that I did wasn't scored, and that was my highest score. I was, I hate the fact that there's one section that they don't score and you don't know what that section is, because that'll get you every time. Had that section been scored, I would have scored higher than what I scored this time on the 4th test. So this week I'm focusing on my 5th test, which I need to score a 152 or higher. So that's the goal. That's what I'm going to be working on. And I'll basically keep you guys updated. What I'm also going to do, if you guys haven't noticed, I've attracted some new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. If you're interested in my LSAT series, we're in this together and we're going to do this together. I've teamed up with someone about doing a collaborate in regards to the LSAT and admissions questions, so you guys will see that video really soon. I'm going to work on my questions tonight because we're going to meet next week and then talk about posting and stuff. But right now I'm going to get started on practicing again. I have about 3 hours of studying that I need to do, but I think I'm going to break that up somehow. I'm going to do like 2 hours and then rest and then do the last hour. I think that's what I'm going to do, or something along those lines. But yeah, I just want to update you guys on where I'm at. I'm not afraid of the LSAT anymore. That's another thing that I wanted to bring up with taking retaking the questions that I took from my previous test just really boosted my confidence, and I'm just like, oh man, this is easy. Oh, let me tell you guys something else that happened to me. So I went to pay for my test on the Lsat. This is how you know this is the devil. I'm just gonna be honest, it's the devil. There's nothing else cost this but the devil. But I went in to pay for my test, and I was trying to pay it early because I didn't want the slot to fill up in the testing center that I wanted to use, because last time I had to drive an hour to my testing center, which I would never want to do again. So I was trying to pay for it early. Went to pay for it, went all the way to the end, and the screen just stopped working. Like, I had perfect internet, nothing was wrong with my connection. It just froze and was like, what did it say? Contact your administrator or something. So I was like, okay, well, they already took it out of my bank because it says that it's pending, or they were in the process of processing it. So I was like, I'll just wait it out. So this was on a Thursday or a Friday. By Monday, I got an email from Lsat saying that my payment didn't go through. And I didn't panic yet, but I was just like, oh gosh. So I called my bank. My bank was like, it's still pending on our end, but when it processes, then we can credit the money back to you. But they're really old fashioned. They wanted Lsat to write a letter and everything. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna call Lsat. So I called them, and the lady was really nice. Oh my gosh, you guys, Lsat's people are so nice and helpful. It was the best experience ever. So I reached out to one of their people. I reached out to the tech people, and I called them because I wasn't sure which one would reach me first. So I spoke to the woman on the phone, and she was like, oh yeah, on our end it posted, but we've refunded the money back to you. You should get it back in a couple of days. And I was like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. I mean, it happens. And then I asked her, I was like, well, I know that this particular site that I want to use fills up really quickly, so is there any way that my seat could be held or something to that regard, because I did essentially pay and it just didn't go through on their end, no fault of mine. So the lady was like, well, let me go into the system and try to do it for you. She tried to do it, and it said the exact same thing. They couldn't register me. For some reason, it kept blocking me from registering. So she was like, I'm gonna send this ticket down to our IT people and see what's going on with your account, because for some reason it's not letting me do it either, because she was gonna hold the seat for me. So she said if they were able to hold my seat, that she would email me or call me, and then I'll be good. I would just owe the balance, and then when the money is refunded back to me, I'll pay the balance back. I said, cool. So she tried it. It didn't work. Not even 10 minutes later, I refreshed my page, and it was sitting there. My registration was sitting there, and it was ready for me to pay for it. But I didn't have to worry about paying for it because they had set it up like a balance owed, so I could still be registered and just pay it later. And then she also called me to confirm that that my registration was being held. So it was really great, but that was nothing but the devil, you guys. I was really like, see, I got a little encouragement for the week, and then he goes in and tries to make me feel bad. But it didn't work. It worked out great. I'm registered for my Lsat. I'm taking it in March. I have 5 more weeks of practice tests and 5 more weeks of studying, and I think I'm going to up the amp a little bit on my studying. I was only supposed to study for 2 hours today, but I'm going to study for 3 because I really want to do a good job. It is very tiresome. I imagine law school to be something similar, if not even more tiresome, but this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm working towards. So it is what it is. I'm going to start studying now because I've talked a lot, and this is actually cutting into my study time. But I did want to update you guys on where I am and what I'm doing, and just to encourage anybody out there, if you're having any doubts or feeling a little overwhelmed by the Lsat, don't let it get to you. Keep studying, keep practicing, try another method if the one that you're using isn't working, and I guarantee you that you're going to improve. I've improved on analytical reasoning so much to this point to where I'm just like, I'm ready to figure out the rest. So just to encourage you guys, I'm going to go study now because I've talked enough. I hope you guys found some encouragement in this video, and I'll see you guys in my next update. Bye guys. So this is my current level. Tomorrow I'm going to work on my strengthening and weakening, which is part of my logical reasoning. mixed setups for the analytical, and then assumptions again for the logical. Very similar to what I'm doing for my first test. I have 7 stages to get through, and these are my current levels that I'm on, so I'm really happy about my progress today.